Hey guys, it's Kelly. I got a quick, not Kelly-like art journal page to share with you guys. So this is a disaster art journal page that I've decided to do something else with. So I'm just gessoing it, and I sped this up really fast and got it down to like just under 12 minutes. So, because there's really no new techniques in here. It's just something I did. I was just playing and having fun. So I'm just putting my Liquitex gesso on there, and there's lots of texture on there because that was one that I had like some napkins and all kinds of stuff happening on there, and it just wound up being like mud. So those are all the scraps. I decided tonight that I was going to go through my scrap drawer and use some of this stuff. So I just tore a bunch of pieces. They all didn't match, and I didn't really care. I just slapped them all down and tried to get as few straight lines as possible in doing it. So I'm just tearing them and using my decoupage to put it down. It's just like Mod Podge. I think it was on sale and I got it cheap. That's why I got that one. It works fine. So just collaging all these pieces and didn't care what matched and what didn't. And there was flowers and all kinds of things. I've got a huge drawer full of stuff. So that's after I was completely done and it was all dried. And I just used some white acrylic paint that was a little watered down just to give it kind of a whitewash look. And then my gelatos just to add some color for the background. And those heart things, it's weird. My grandma had picked up a whole bunch of these little bead things, and they had like in shapes of hearts, and they had little beads in it, and they were to put on cards. But I wound up taking them apart, and I stamp with the foam that's left over from that little piece. It's hard to explain. I don't have any left to show you, but I just pieced it out and used the parts of it. So, and that's just water, putting it on my gelatos and spreading some color around, and then drying it up. So, and all those flowers, they were all this stuff is from my scrap pile. And that's my Liquitex matte medium. I knew I wanted to seal the gelatos really well because I wanted to play with my Pit pen, my Faber-Castell black Pit pen, and I love how it smudges. So I knew I was going to be doing that. And that's the pen too, and I'm just outlining some of the elements that are underneath there that I thought were pretty. Didn't really have a plan. This is a art journal page with a style unlike anything I've ever done before, but I kind of like it. It was fun. I was just playing around and recorded it as I went and just thought I would share it. And maybe someone will like it and it'll inspire somebody to get their journal on. And there's that little foam thing, so I just stamped with it. The red things that I outlined on the paper were on top of that foam thing glued on it, so I just decided to stamp with it and have like the negative of it, if that makes any sense. So, and then I was just playing with a bunch of stamps, just random stamps from my collection of stamps that I have. And I left them on the block because I knew that my there was so much texture on this page that it wouldn't stamp even, so it wound up working out well. I didn't want perfect stamping. So, and that's my white Pit marker that I have, and I'm just stamping with white. And there's some circle stamps on there. I just decided to add those as well here and there. I was just playing, guys. I didn't have a plan. I was just playing. That's my favorite time to art journal. Slapping it down with no plan. Just adding some white highlights here and there that wind up getting covered up, but I wasn't sure what direction I was going, so a lot of it was just to play with the markers and see how I liked them and how I like to use them. because I'm considering buying all of them, and that's a pretty hefty investment. They're very expensive, so I've only got these two. And before I do that, I just want to make sure that it's something that I know I'm going to get a lot of use of, because they're a lot of money. So, and I love how they smear. They won't on regular paper, but on medium, like what I put down here, the matte medium, they smudge real well. It's a timing thing too, and that's why I use so much of it on this page. This was my play with page. It's if you put it on and you smudge it immediately, a lot of it will disappear, but if you give it just a few extra seconds, it'll get a little bit darker and it won't disappear. So, and again, that's just experimenting with it and learning what works best for me. I love the markers, and I definitely want to buy them. So, and that's just a red Sharpie, and those are great markers to have too, but they don't smear. They're definitely not pit markers. But those are the big brush Sharpie markers that I was using. And then the pit smeared over it and around it just fine. And it's the Faber-Castell Pit Big Brush marker. It's called a pen, big brush pen. I'm just adding some highlights here and there. And I colored that in down there and smeared it with my finger, and then the colors beneath it still came through a little bit. It was okay, but I just wanted to see how it covered a big surface like that, and if it smeared and if I liked it. And I do. And then at the one at the top, I just kind of did like line marks in the same direction so that the colors behind it would kind of show through, and I liked that effect as well. Pretty versatile pen. And just adding little pops of color here and there, or pops of white. I probably went a little overboard with the shading and everything with the Pitt pen, but that's how you learn how to do it. So yeah, it's just playing. I'm just adding the border along the outside of the page. The Pitt pen works really well for that too. If you want it real light, then you wouldn't, you'd smear it right away. If you want a little bit darker, give it a second. And that's just the word love, and I'm stamping it on vellum paper because I wanted what was behind it to kind of show through a little bit, and it was also one of my scraps. So, and after I stamped it, I just dried it. You got to be careful with vellum paper because it kind of starts to burn a little bit if you get it too hot. So just tearing it. And then I ink it. I don't know why, because I wind up using the Pitt pen around it anyway, but force of habit, I think. I always ink the edges of any word or phrase or anything I put on my pages. So because it's vellum paper, it has like a gray tone to it, so the white pops out pretty good on that paper. And that's just my red Sharpie again. And then I wind up putting it down with the matte medium. And as soon as you get it wet, it smears. I mean, as soon as you get it wet, it curls. Sorry. Oh, what I was thinking. Late. Then I couldn't figure out what I want to do because it needed something else. And I have these cute little whimsical stamps. One is of a little bug. So I stamped it on vellum, and I cut that out apparently. Stamped it on vellum just like I did the word love, and just decorated it and colored it, and then put the word, stamped the word bug underneath it and called it Love Bug. So there it is. It was very, very fun. And gosh, there's so much going on in this page. It's so thick now because I had covered up a boo-boo from before, so it's a really thick piece of art journal paper. But I hope you guys like it. I just thought I'd share it really quick with you. I know it went really fast, but there was nothing new in it. So let me know if you like it, and thanks for watching, guys.